Here goes.
We are.
You got this. Okay. Maya Angelou, probably not only my favorite poet, but also one of the people who has inspired me the most, right from a very young age. The first time I stumbled across her, and I thought it would be a fitting tribute to her to do a Pecha with you guys here. And yes, so this is the poem I stumbled across when I was about 17, and it really, really moved me. I think it also spoke to me at a level that happened at that point because I just gotten married, come to a new city, and totally into a new family amongst new people, and I kind of identified with this poem. And once I read that poem, I decided to learn more about her, and this is exactly what I used to do. I used to be in British Council looking up works on her, works on Maya Angelou, and I had no connection to the computer or the internet at that time. So it was literally this, sitting for hours at British Council, going through cards, finding out her poem, finding out about her. And this is what I found, that she's a poet, memoirist, novelist, educator, dramatist, and whatever you will. An amazing, amazing and awesome woman who, I would say, defied every grievance or every negativity that life threw at her and kind of turned it on its head. This is one of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou. I've learned that you shouldn't go through life with a catcher's mitt on both hands. You need to be able to throw something back. And her poems and her quotes and her personality and all that she did really, really, really inspired me. She was born on 4th April, I'm going to read out a few of the points, in 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri, and she was raised in Stamps, Arkansas. She experienced racial discrimination. She was raped at the age of 8 by her mother's boyfriend, and still she was able to see this. She was able to say this, and she really, really had attitude. An attitude that helped her through all the phases of her life. So she, at the age of 14, she actually got scholarship to a school, but she dropped out of that school to become the first African-American woman cab conductor. She performed in some of historic Broadway movies. Sorry. As a teenager, she, this is where she was in Cairo, Egypt, and she served as the editor of an English language weekly. And later on, she also joined the Harlem Writers Guild. In Ghana, she met Malcolm X, and with him, she worked to build the African American Unity, the organization that Malcolm X at that time was working for, and she was a very, very active member over there. Unfortunately, and she was very close to Malcolm X, they were almost like, he was the brother she never had. And unfortunately, after he was assassinated soon after that, Martin Luther King, she came across him, and he was so impressed by her that he invited her to serve for the Southern Christian leadership. And this proved to be a historic association for both. That is when she fully found herself, found
Martin Luther King was a human being with a brilliant mind, a powerful heart, and insight, and courage, and also with a sense of humor. So he was accessible. I mentioned courage. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were much more alike than they were unalike. Their methods of achieving the ends were different. Martin Luther King had been influenced by Mahatma Gandhi and the concept of nonviolent.
She was a trailblazer in films and television. She wrote and composed screenplays for a movie called Georgia, Georgia. That was the first ever film script that by an African American woman to be made into a film, and which also was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. You can see her in action here. On the left, she's on the set of with author filmmaker M.K. Asante Jr. working on the landmark film Black Candle. And on the right, she's on the film on the set of Poetic Justice with director John Singleton. So she's not rested for a moment. She's never given into self-pity. She has never lost her courage. Here she's with Oprah Winfrey, bringing in the NASDAQ ceremonial opening bell at New York City to celebrate the launch of Oprah and Friends channel on the radio. So she's taken up causes. She has always persevered in her courage and in her belief in goodness despite all odds. You know? She's never lost her inspiration. She's never lost her sense of self-worth. And she has never lost her sense of courage. I think one abiding thing that she repeatedly talks about is courage. And that unflinching courage that is perseveres, that is persistent and insistent. She's 80 years old, 82 to be precise, and she's still active. She's a symbol of faith. She's a symbol of hope for many. And if you go to any website, you will come across poems like The Phenomenal Woman, Still I Rise, which is one of my favorites again, and of course the...
I'm convinced that courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you cannot practice any other virtue consistently. You can be kind for a while, you can be generous for a while, you can be just for a while, or merciful for a while, even loving for a while. But it is only with courage that you can be persistently and insistently kind and generous and fair.
Was level for all people, then we wouldn't need affirmative action. But it's been terribly unlevel, terribly unfair for centuries. And in an effort to level the playing field for all people, we need Head Start and affirmative action and other...
Know you are
my favorite quote.
Not asking it, but knowing it. You walk into a room with a particular power. When you know you are of worth, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to become rude. You don't have to become vulgar. You just are. And you are like the sky.